Scientists have discovered that visual clutter takes up mental space, as every item in sight is another piece of information your brain must deal with. So the messier your environment, the harder it is to focus, relax, remember, or even problem solve. According to a recent study published by the Journal of Environmental Psychology, when clutter becomes excessive, it can threaten to entrap a person in dysfunctional home environments, which contribute to personal distress and feelings of displacement and alienation.
Hello and welcome to this month's edition of Rural America Live with AARP. I'm Christina Loren. We are glad you're with us. Why is getting rid of stuff so hard? Tonight we're going to explore that question in detail. And we have a very special guest known for providing priceless decluttering skills. She'll take your calls and offer tips on how to get started on the downsizing process, as well as help us organize our way to greater peace of mind, paving the way for more joy and harmony in our daily lives. And I think we can all use a little bit more of that. You are a big part of this show. Our question of the month for you is, what is the one part of your home that's hard to declutter? Let us know tonight. And you might just be a winner. We're giving away a hard-sided cooler to 5 random lucky on-air callers tonight. And it could be you. You could be a winner. We hope it is you, as a matter of fact. Now, as a friendly reminder, you don't need to be a member of AARP or over the age of 50 to win, and you can only win one time each calendar year. If you are a winner tonight, AARP will call you back on the number that you called from in the next few days to confirm your mailing address. And if you're a past winner and you've not received your cooler just yet, be sure to return their call and provide your address. And get this, AARP even covers the shipping cost. So give us a call. You've got nothing to lose, only to gain. We want to hear from you tonight. Our phone lines are open at 877-283-7570. I'll give you a chance to grab a pen. That number again is 877-283-7570. We are ready to take your phone calls right now. We also want to thank those of you not just joining us on Rfd-Tv. We also have an online audience that we welcome tonight. And now, we welcome our friends from AARP, some familiar faces. Greg Marshallton, AARP State Director for Vermont. And he's been back quite a few times lately. We're happy to have you back. Brad Anderson, State Director for AARP, Iowa. So I hope I'm not the only one on this table who needs this show tonight, gentlemen.
You're not. I certainly need this help, but I found out this guy over here
I'm passionate
is
about
like a passionate declutterer. So,
Really?
Who knew?
I practice what I preach.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We're going to get some tips from you, hopefully.
Let's do it.
I'm happy to hear that, because I think that for most of us, we could use a little bit of decluttering, a little bit more organization in our lives. And so I think that you're going to be surprised with the tips that we have to share. So when it comes to those tips and tricks to make our homes a little bit more organized, a little less chaotic, Greg, let's start with some of the mental health benefits, because this is something that I think a lot of us don't even associate with clutter.
Well, we took all the positive words related to decluttering and sort of what was beneficial about them and put them into a word cloud, which I think we're going to show here in a second or two. So things like it makes you more confident, you sleep better, reduced anxiety, lowers risks of allergies, higher self-esteem, less stress. I mean, I think these are things that all of us would welcome in our lives. And I think if we just, certainly for me, if we can just begin to learn to declutter in a way that will work, these benefits seem enormous. So the upside just seems amazing.
But getting there can be hard, especially if you're talking about years upon years upon years of clutter collecting.
That's right.
For some of us, that clutter is so vast, it's been there for so long, it can be hard to get started. But, Brad, I understand that AARP pulled together some professional organizers to share some tips. What are those tips?
Well, downsizing and decluttering is something we all need to do at some point. And we also need to understand that everybody has different tastes, So what I like may not be the same thing that my kids like. And for example, my miter saw and my Bruce Springsteen biography collection, I'm guessing no one is going to clamor for that after I'm gone. And I need to appreciate that. We all need to appreciate that. And so we at AARP pulled together some professional organizers, and they came up with dozens of great strategies and tips that are really simple to do that can help you declutter. And so we're going to go through some of those tips and strategies here tonight. The first is knowing where to begin. So start small with 10 minutes a day. If you make a habit of decluttering at least 10 minutes a day, the results will add up. This is just simple math. Secondly, give everything a home. So everything in your house should have a designated area. If I had a nickel every time I said, find a home for your baseball cleats, I'd be a really rich guy right now. So the second strategy here is to shift your mindset. And this is actually really tricky. So one of the things that we need to do is pause before buying something new and do some self-reflection. And, you know, if you do decide to go buy it, stick to the simple principle of one item in, one item out. So if you buy a new pair of running or walking shoes, make sure the old pair of running and walking shoes makes it to the dumpster. The second thing to do is think differently about budgeting. And so shift your priorities from buying more stuff to saving for a family vacation or building up your retirement nest egg. And now, I am no scientist, and I've got no science to back this up, but I believe that decluttering is about 20% mental, or 80% mental and 20% physical. And getting started and shifting that mindset, that's mental, and that's really hard to do. Throwing stuff away is really easy, and so we're going to talk about some additional strategies here down the road to help people get through that mental part of decluttering.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you brought up the old shoes, and for me, it's like, oh, well, what if I end up in hard times? You know what I mean? I end up down the road not being able to afford another new pair of shoes. I got to hold on to my whole collection just in case. How do we start to break those cycles? I'm really excited to bring in our expert tonight and find out, but I personally didn't realize how much space it was taking up in my head as well as my home. A little surprised to learn about that. How about you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think as Brad said, I mean, if we could all get with a sort of one item in, one item out, but I have that trouble too. I mean, I look at the shoes and I'm like, well, they're a little bit old, but they don't look too terrible to me. But then if I look in my coat room, you know, I've got 16 pair of shoes, of which 15 of them I probably haven't worn in a couple of years. So it really is a way, you really have to sort of rejigger the way you think about all this in order to conquer the clutter, in order to clear your head, in order to, again, get all those benefits that word cloud showed us a little bit earlier.
Well, I think we have a nice little matchup here because you're very organized. You seem more organized than me, and we're going to bring on someone else tonight who's going to help us all get organized. And so we want to hear from you. It doesn't matter where you fall on the spectrum. We want to hear from you tonight. We're going to pause for a short break, but we have 5 coolers to give away. And when we return, our special guest, Clutter Queen, Amelia Hatcher, will join us to take your phone calls. Join our conversation, 877-283-7570. You might just be a winner. More Rural America Live right after this. Welcome back to Rural America Live with AARP. Do you need to downsize or declutter? Well, we have the show for you. Clutter Queen Amelia Hatcher joins us now to take your calls and share tips on how we can all organize our lives, which in turn can actually help us organize our thoughts. Amelia, welcome to the program. We're excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, we're thrilled to have you. And our viewers are going to be calling in with questions and tips for you as well. I mean, they want to ask you questions, but we're going to get some tips from them that might actually help you.
I love it.
Do you think that's going to happen?
I think it will.
Okay. I'm excited about that. So what is the first tip you'd like to share?
Always open your mail. The minute you get your mail, open it, throw away junk mail, and then just put it in a stack, even if you do not have time to read it right then. But just open your mail. Papers and everything on kitchen tables and countertops, it's hard. It's hard to work around all the paperwork.
Absolutely, and that is something I'm very guilty of myself, is putting it to the side. It stacks up.
Yes.
And then you might be missing out on a check if you
Absolutely.
don't go through
You're
it.
going to miss something.
That's
I actually have recently myself, my Costco check.
Oh, yeah, see? Okay, so that's great. All right, we're just getting started here tonight. We want to bring you into this conversation, and we have coolers, 5 of them, in fact, to give away to lucky on-air callers tonight. So give us a call. The number is 877-283-7570. We welcome in our friends once again from AARP, Amelia. You're known as the Clutter Queen here in Nashville, but tonight you have a national audience before you.
Oh, and that makes me so happy. I can't wait.
We're excited. Tell us, what's your latest project that you're working on?
I'm actually involved with several people building new houses, and I get to do the move with them. So it's always fun to organize them before they move, and then when I meet them at the other house, we're already organized and ready to load in at that point.
And, you know, a lot of people out here in Nashville, a lot of our audience, rural Americans, they've got sheds. And in those sheds, things collect.
Yes, they do. It's the perfect place to just put something in there and forget about it.
So what are your tips for helping us organize our sheds?
Well, the thing I love about a shed is it can stay so organized and work, but when it is upside down, it is just too hard. It's tripping hazards. You know, you have to be really careful in a shed with everything around there, but they're always fun and you can do a lot of things in there.
Yeah, tell me about this particular project. Now, is this the before or after that we're seeing here?
Oh, this is the before. This is the before, and I just love the minute I open the door. Obviously, things are upside down and turned around, but I could see the potential. If you look on the sides of the shed, you can see there's an actual tool bench, and we were able to take that, move it around, and all of the wood and the metal containers in the back of that shed, we reused it. We used every bit of that. My client was able to save lots of money. And there's the tool bench that we just flipped it around and put it under the window. Everybody likes to look out a window, and my client loves to plant. And she also loves to paint. And we were able to get all the paint cans together, bug spray, just containing everything that we could. And when we remodeled it, you can see there, we got some great containers. She loves this color. We were able to make it fun, and everything now is just put away. And we were able to use every single thing in our shed, and it was awesome to do that.
And she knows where to find everything. She doesn't have to spend 10 to 20 minutes looking anymore.
No, she doesn't. She knows right where everything is. Everything's labeled and good to go.
I love it. Okay, well, we have callers anxious to speak with you. Chris from Minnesota is up first tonight. Go right ahead, Chris.
Oh, I'm looking at your shed. I have sheds full of old clothing and tubs of clothes that thinking that, oh, we'll fit back in them, and, you know, we never will. So I just, what do I do with all that clothing?
This is a great question. Clothing is overwhelming. It can be overwhelming to everybody. It's overwhelming to families, kids, everybody. I always say, if you have time to just go in your closet and look through, start with colors, organize your colors, go through your black shirts first, your white shirts, and look at those. If they're tired, which means the neck might be stretched out a little bit, or they might have something, even stained on them, just let those go. And those are a little bit easier sometimes to do. If you fluctuate in size a little bit, I always tell everybody, leave a couple of different sizes, and then it's so much easier to get dressed in the mornings when you have less clothes, and you can always sell some clothes. You can have a yard sale, make a little money, or I love to donate it to families also that can use the clothing.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that call, Chris. That leaves a line open for you, 877-283-7570. What part of your home do you find is difficult to declutter? Or maybe you're like Brad and you know what you're doing. Maybe you have a tip for us tonight. You could be a winner. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call, just as Terry is doing from Nebraska. Congratulations. You're our first winner tonight, Terry. Go right ahead.
Oh, very cool. I'm really enjoying your program tonight. You guys are doing an awesome job.
Thank you. Do you have a question?
Anyway, I would just, me and my wife were just kind of sitting here, and we have kind of a cluttered house, to be blunt about it. We're just kind of wondering, where to begin, or is there a particular room that you recommend doing over another room, or what have you?
Question.
Yes, I love this. And yes, I do have several rooms that I love to get started in. One is our bedroom. Our bedroom should be a place that we can just go and chill and relax. And one way to start in your bedroom, make your bed in the mornings. It automatically makes you feel better. And then you can pick things up off the floor, just picking things up on the floor. You can get laundry baskets and things that are just very, small, but you can combine things like clothing and sort, and then that helps you get a jump start. But a bedroom is always the best, and then maybe move to the kitchen, because that's where we are the most.
Okay, the two places where you spend the most time.
Yes.
I love that. Okay, Frank from Iowa is joining our conversation tonight from Iowa.
All right.
Tell us what's on your mind tonight, Frank.
Good evening. Well, I have a clean household, but I have a daughter who is married. The two of them are right at the 65 to 70 years of age, both retired, and they've got a garage that is part of the house. It's tucked, it's a split level type thing, and it's so crowded, it's so full of junk that it's almost have to walk sideways to get into the garage, to get into the lower level of the house. And I can't convince, and it's kind of slippery. You want to be careful how you don't insult somebody.
Yes.
My daughter I can talk to, but she tells me that her husband can't let go anything. He's still got his college papers. And he got checking accounts and old checks. For an example, he can't get rid of the tubs of personal papers.
Yes.
And I can't convince her to lean on him, I guess, as a way to get rid of the stuff, because pretty soon they're not going to be able to walk through the garage.
Yes.
This has been going on for years.
Yes, this is tough. This is a tough situation. Sometimes I just love to ask my clients to meet in the middle. Just somehow meet in the middle, and meaning a lot of times when you can maybe make some money and sell some things, and you could put the money toward a vacation or doing something with your family instead of just looking at different pieces of furniture. The papers, that's a tough one. If there's any way he could put everything in a container, and label it for him and tuck that away maybe somewhere in a garage or even an attic, just so it's not in your everyday life in the way.
Yeah, I want to add to that, because one of the things that the caller mentioned were things like bank records and papers, and that stuff, if it's been hanging around for years, not only is cluttering the garage and making it not a good place to be, but potentially exposing themselves to fraud. Those things have really important banking information numbers, social security numbers. You're not really supposed to keep your tax returns beyond 3 to 5 years back. You want all that stuff shredded. So, if someone were to actually get in that garage and find some of those papers, this could be a much worse problem than just having your garage full of some stuff and needing to get cleaned up. But
excellent point.
Those sorts of documents should not be laying around in boxes in anybody's garage.
With technology, it's come so far. I mean, you can get a scanner and you can digitally upload all that material and hold on to it, so it's not taking up lots of room in a home. So thank you so much for calling in. Our next caller is John from New Jersey, our next winner tonight. Congratulations to you, John. Go right ahead.
They've got a garage that is Aarp.
John, you might want to step away from your television. Sounds like we're getting a little bit of feedback. Are you with us? Okay, I think we're having a little bit of trouble getting him on the phone. I will ask you this, because it is a psychological battle for many of us. How do you convince somebody to let go when they do have these thoughts in the back of their mind? I might need this one day, or I will need this one day. What do you say to them?
Sometimes what we do is I take everything out. Let's just say we're doing a closet and they're having a hard time hanging on to things, or maybe in a child's bedroom. That's always, tough for grandkids. And, the big thing is sometimes clean it out, and I will put things to the side for them and just tell them if they notice they haven't really missed it, or they're, basically what we're trying to do is give them an easier way to part with things, but yet I also want to keep it sensitive, because it can be very, touching and emotional. And then sometimes I can just convince them. I have people that I help and take things to, and they're willing to donate it at that point. They're willing to get rid of it, knowing it's going to a new home and somewhere that somebody else can enjoy it. That always helps.
I love that. You're helping people as well.
Yes.
When someone else brings it to your attention, it can be easier to let go of certain things. And then oftentimes we don't even miss it when it's gone. So I love how that works. Joe from Pennsylvania is a winner. Thanks for joining us, Joe. Go right ahead.
Oh, hi. So my husband and I, we're empty nesters now, but we have still plenty of stuff of our own and our kids in our home and all kinds of places. But in addition to that, we have inherited things from both of our parents' households, and the grandparents have passed. And many of the things we don't really know the value of. There's artwork, there are antique pieces, there's china and some furniture, and if nobody in the next generation wants it, it's hard to know what to do with it and how we don't want to just give away things because they could have great value. I'm not sure exactly what to do.
The thing with that is sometimes it does, you want to find out value of things, of course. Sometimes you can just Google search it. You can go to different websites and it'll give you an idea. The thing would be great, just like I always say, sell things, get rid of things, do something with your family and your parents. When you have your parents' items and things, I always say get your family together. Get your kids together, talk about it. I've just helped a family, and there were several of the children who wanted many, many things, and there were a couple of children who just said they felt like their home was overwhelmed, and they kept smaller things that were sentimental, smaller things, and of course you always have pictures, which is a wonderful memory as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think you need to realize too that, as I said earlier, people's tastes change, and we all need to recognize that not everyone has the same taste, you know, and sometimes kids today are not necessarily interested in china, for example, or sometimes, you know, we've got people with these really great quilt collections that are valuable to them, but maybe, you know, they're having a hard time parting with and they can't find a home for. And so I just think we need to understand that there is really an emotional tie to some of these items. And so, but the value per se is more to the person. You're going to find a lot of times that things are not nearly as valuable as you think they are when you get them appraised. And so just be aware of that as you're decluttering.
Yes.
But it's probably a good idea, as you talk about, to have piles. So if there are items that you think could be of value, you keep them in one pile, then you know what I mean? Because it's hard to think, oh, darn it, I just gave away that painting and it could have been worth $10,000.
That's right. For example, even with the china, this is what I love. I tell families and people I help, get it out. Use it for your everyday. It sits in a box. And I have families just using grandma's china at dinner with their family because it's just fun to look at. And most of the time, the next generation does not seem to want our style, like you were saying. So use it now. Break it out, have fun.
Well, I was just going to say that, you know, most people think they have a few things that really are of value, and it usually is things like china or a painting. The truth is, it's very unlikely that there really is any real value. And if it really had significant value or was passed down to you, that would have been communicated to you if it was a piece of artwork that, you know, was really worth something. But to the caller's point, you know, she has stuff from her parents, her husband's parents, and then they have all the baby pictures of their own children, and you can just see the clutter constricting them in their own house. And to Brad's point, you have to be able to somehow break that emotional attachment to some of these things. And when you're able to do that, I think, you know, that'll clear up the house a little bit.
I love that. And, you know, maybe we watch a little bit of that Antique Roadshow too often.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right. So everyone thinks they've got something in their house like that, and really most of us don't.
Wishful thinking.
I will say my mom did declutter some baseball cards that I have since regretted, and those were valuable for the record. But so be a little careful, but understand the
but
China
you got
probably
over
not.
it, right? You got over it.
I'm over it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that Mike from West Virginia joins the conversation now. Thanks for joining us, Mike. Go right ahead.
Yes. Hi, guys.
Hi.
I think you partially already answered my question, but I had a question about paperwork, possibly like old tax records or W-2s or things like that. I was just wondering how long should I keep those, or if I should pass those on down. I'm just not sure on certain
It's a really good question, Mike, and a really important one. You don't need to keep any of your tax returns beyond the last 3 years. And now with so much e-filing going on, which is how most people do their taxes, those records are available to you, online in a way that they weren't, let's just say maybe a decade or so ago. But W-2s, tax returns, bank statements, credit card bills, all those things have extremely important numbers on them that can make you super vulnerable to a scam. You want to shred those things as soon as possible. AARP state offices all across the country are really beginning now. In Vermont, we have one actually coming up next week where we do these shredding events in big places where our members come and they bring 3-4 boxes of stuff. We have shredding trucks there on site, and we can get that stuff shredded for them right there. But those documents in the hands of someone with sort of a criminal mind can be really, really dangerous. But, a lot of people have sitting around with tax returns from like the 1980s. You don't need them. They're of no value. They're not going to help you at all, but they could hurt you significantly.
Excellent.
Yes, I think that was perfectly said.
Very good. Derry from Alabama joins us, our next winner. Congratulations to you, Derry. Go right ahead.
Hey, is there a time limit or amount on when something becomes clutter?
I can't hear.
Yeah, I had this question too. I think he's asking, is there a time limit when something becomes clutter? And so, for example, there's this rule where if you haven't worn it in a year or a year and a half, get rid of it. I was curious from the clutter queen, do you have a hard and fast rule on that?
I actually always talk with people. We go over it. I have so many questions. How often do you wear it? Do you love it? Do you like the color? And so basically we're able to weed it out. And that's what I say, put it on. Look at things in the mirror and just think, I have not worn that in a very long time and I do not really like it. At that point, I think it's great to pass that on to someone else who's going to love it.
No, I recently did that. And then I lost 25 pounds. And so I ended up with a bunch of clothes. And then I got it. I was like, why did I give that away? So maybe don't go too far. Keep a few things that you like just in case. But it's funny. You can go too far with anything. Moderation is key in every circumstance. Now, one thing that I've noticed is the containers that you use. Tell me about the containers and how they can help our lives.
Containers will change your life. Containers, every single thing needs to be in a container. From your mail, from your chargers, your cords, everything needs to be in a container. Your dog toys even need to have a container. Because what happens if it's not contained, that's when the clutter starts piling. That's when the papers start piling. That's when the phone cords are all jumbled up in the kitchen. If you can put it in a container, and even sometimes grab a box. If you have an Amazon box, pile all of your mail in that box. Contain it. That's the main thing we want to do. And what I love, too, is once you contain it, that's a project. Instead of looking at it with so much dread and being just upset, put it in a container, take a few minutes each day, go through a little bit of mail, and keep working on it until the container's empty.
You pick vibrant colors, and all of a sudden you brighten up the room.
Fun.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, our next caller is Kurt, calling from Kansas tonight. Thanks for joining us. Go right ahead.
Okay, so in the last year, we have made 2 cross-country moves, one from Minnesota to Texas, and then Texas to Kansas. Each move, we did massive downsizing, getting rid of everything that we thought we would never need again. And now that we're in Kansas, we find ourselves buying the things that we gave away or got rid of. And it almost seems like we need to adjust our way of thinking or our frame of mind as to what we really need. Any advice on that?
One, I think it's great that you downsized when you were moving. That is the perfect time to do that. When we're moving, we realize there's so many things we haven't put our hands on or we haven't touched. So I think that's great. And then we learn to just be more minimalist. We don't have as much. And then you start feeling the vibe and you want to start purging and get rid of things because it starts calming you down. The less clothes in the closet, the less you have to pick on what to wear that day. The less socks in the drawer. You're not losing socks every other every other day. Just downsizing helps tremendously. And then he did that moving. And then did you say you were moving again?
Oh, you said he moved twice. And he wanted to put things back.
Yeah, the big problem was that he said he was purging, which is great.
Yes.
But then when he arrived in Kansas, his last destination, he said he found himself buying more, buying stuff again.
Sure, and that does happen. That does happen as well. And, I always say, hang on to it if you just absolutely are not sure. Put it to the side, figure that out. Take your time. You're not in a rush. You haven't been in a rush since you've been holding on to it. Take your time, but really try to think about being more minimal and helping not only yourself, but your family, everybody. It just always benefits.
I love it. Absolutely unsure.
Yes.
That's me.
If you are absolutely unsure,
I love that.
Just hold on just a little longer.
Okay, Donna from California joins us this evening. Thanks so much for joining us, Donna. Go right ahead.
Thank you. I'm very concerned about all the clutter in a big master bathroom that has open shelves, it has medicine cabinets, it has countertops, 2 or 3 sinks, and it seems like you gather so many things as medicines, and you gather things as bath products, and everything else that goes on in the bathroom, and there just is not enough room to declutter, it seems.
Okay, the easiest way to tackle that is always try to empty the space. So if you have a bed in that bedroom or even a table in the garage, set up your table, put an old blanket on the bed, and empty that bathroom. Grab your containers, take out all the candles that might be in there, take out all the soaps, go through it, check your expiration dates. Sometimes you'll be surprised you're able to get rid of some things even when you might not have, realized it. And take each pile and go through it and do not start another project, until you're finished with that. But I highly recommend tables. They are wonderful to be able to just spread out and then sort and then move back into the bathroom, once it's been sorted and cleaned up.
Excellent. 877-283-7570 is the number to call. You could be a winner tonight of a hard-sided cooler. We want to hear your tips. We want to hear your concerns. Where is clutter a problem in your life? And Greg, I'm going to pose this question to you. When do you know personally that it's time to declutter?
Would you need a little help? Is that what you're talking about?
Possibly. I might.
Well, you want to get some help when, I think everybody knows. We hear the callers tonight. You can hear the people feeling it, right? And so that's the time to get help organizing. And so that's really the first thing to do. There are some real benefits. Recognize your feelings, and whatever they are, just sort of honor those. And then you're able to, move forward. I think also sort of taking things in small chunks, right? You don't, the notion that you're going to do the entire house all at the same time, it is not going to happen for you. So get a little help organizing. And this one I really like. Digitize, then ditch. This makes a ton of sense to me. Do you really need 1,000 pictures of your of your 5-year-old playing in the backyard? Probably not. But digitize a few of them, and you'll have that memorialized. But then you won't have crates full of old photographs. And then tackle the tough decisions. This one can be difficult, but really will make a huge difference. Pause before purchasing. This is, I think, an issue for anyone, right? It's like, do I really need that? Do I need a second toaster oven because this one might do one more thing than the one I already have? So, like anything, take a deep breath, ask yourself, do I really need this? And then, think about budgeting differently, right? Think about what that might mean. This has been raised, a few times tonight. Like, if you're gonna spend the $75, what if you put it away for a family vacation? What if you put it away to do something special with, your friends or something like that, as a way to use those dollars in a different way. And then, of course, benefits of just owning less. That's been talked about here tonight as well. I think we saw in the word cloud, people are going to be less stressed. You're going to be sort of more in tune with things. You're going to feel a lot lighter, probably is the best way to describe it. And that owning less really there's a real value in that. And then, give yourself some time. Right? You're not going to solve the entire decluttering problem. We've heard the expert talk tonight. It's like, probably didn't take, just 15 minutes to fix that shed. It takes a little while to get through it. So pick a room and then pick some time, right? Say, like, I'm going to spend 15 minutes on this drawer, and then do the drawer until the end. Probably even set a timer, so you'll give yourself the full 15 minutes to do it. And then you'll start making progress. And when you start making progress, you'll start feeling better.
Yes.
And then all this should generally fall in place. I need to take this advice that we're providing everybody myself, and I intend to do so.
We all need to practice what we're preaching tonight, huh?
Well, so one of the best pieces of advice that I read in a recent AARP publication, and Terry mentioned this earlier, is like, where do I begin? You know, how do I start? And Donna just had that issue with her bathroom. And the best piece of advice is start small. Start small. So what I mean by that is small increments of time, 10 or 15 minutes a day. You'll make a lot of progress. Start small, start with a drawer. Because there is enormous power in actually accomplishing something, and that will build momentum. And so when Donna is tackling that bathroom and she's looking at all the soaps and the hairsprays and everything, start with a drawer and spend 10 minutes on that, and then walk away and then come back. And, I'm curious from the callers too, if they have any other projects that they are just frozen on, because I think we all have looked at piles and froze, and piles can be incredibly daunting. Yes. And so this starting small strategy is one that really does work.
I love that. I've never heard that.
Just one thing about Donna, who called us from California, she mentioned a lot of medicine in her. This is another thing that you really want to take care of. You do not want old medicine, old prescriptions sitting around. You can bring those back to your pharmacies, and they can dispose of them in a safe way. But that can also be really problematic and can cause significant issues with people's health. You do not want old pharmaceuticals and old medicines just sitting around your bathroom.
They have expiration
Thought I would add
dates.
that.
It's actually, they have those expirations for a reason. Yes. Okay, 877-283-7570 is the number to call. The only thing missing from this discussion tonight is you. What are your decluttering tips, or where could you use a little bit of help? Or what do you think is the psychology that drives us to clutter? It's going to be different for each and every one of us. We want to hear from you. 877-283-7570. We still have a cooler to give away, so give us a call now. We'll be right back with more Rural America Live with AARP right after this.
It's important to unclutter your home and make it easy to navigate. Here are 3 storage solutions to make life a little easier. Make cookware and dining essentials easy to grab by installing pull-out drawers and organizers in your kitchen. Using a pull-out drawer or organizer in lower-level cabinets means you won't have to bend down or kneel on the floor to reach items in the back of a cabinet. Pull-down organizers can reduce the strain of grabbing dishes and pantry items that are higher up. Install open shelving in areas like the kitchen, laundry room, and bathroom. Open shelves work best if they're installed between eye and waist level. Add a rack for yard tools. Get brooms, rakes, and shovels off the ground by installing a storage rack or tool hanger in the garage or backyard. Properly stored essentials can help you create a comfortable, organized, and safe home to live in for years to come.
Welcome back to Rural America Live with AARP. We still have 2 coolers to give away, so please give us a call, 877-283-7570, and one of those coolers could be yours tonight. In fact, actually, I'm hearing that Andrew from Mississippi is our next winner. Thanks for joining us, Andrew. Go right ahead.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. My question is, for people who have a lot of nuts and bolts and everything, little washers, screws, knickknacks that just gather over the years through various projects, they include extra parts on like they do on everything. What do you do with those? What's the most efficient way to organize them, put them together? Is it like a tackle box or where do you get the bins? I mean, I'm just stuck on this, right? I've just got a pile.
First of all, tackle box is a great idea. I do that very often. And medicine containers are great for nails, screws, bolts, anything like that. Also, spice racks. You can find spice racks sometimes on Facebook Marketplace or at a yard sale, and they're always fun to put anything like that in as well. But the main thing is sort them together as a family. So wherever the nails are, the bolts need to be close. So get everything together in some type of container, and also Hobby Lobby. That's a great place to go for containers. Even though it might be a jewelry container, it holds nails and bolts just fine.
Absolutely. Or you get it from Amazon, and then you get the container and the box on top of it. Thank you.
True.
We have our next caller coming in from Colorado tonight, joining us from the Four Corners, Laverne. Thanks for joining us. Go right ahead.
I'm going a little bit different direction, and that is moving from a large house to a one-bedroom apartment, which I just had to do. And I suggest that the person that's making the move stay on top of it and look as things are being as you're having things taken out of your drawers and all. Just really ask yourself, will I need that? And if I get rid of it and I find that I need it, where am I going to get another item like that? And but my biggest thing is, I just said, do it yourself and not let everybody else convince you. No, you don't need that. You don't need that. And when you make the move, you can always sort out a few more things and do a little more organization when you get there.
Those are great tips. Yeah. I like that.
We appreciate that. If
yes.
you're absolutely unsure, don't do it.
That's right. I have several clients, and we call that the Island of Misfit Toys. And it's just containers like things in the kitchen, certain things you might not use, but your thermometer and your potato masher once a year, it just goes in that little container right into the pantry. And it doesn't take up any more room, but I agree with her. You have to keep something.
Let's keep these great calls coming in. We love hearing from you, rural America. The number is 877-283-7570. We're going to North Carolina, where Ernie joins us next. Thanks for joining us, Ernie. Go right ahead.
Hey, Christina. How are you this afternoon?
Oh, I'm even better now because I get to talk to you. What's on your mind tonight, sir?
Well, I have a sort of different question to ask tonight. I have a mother that has dementia, and I'm just before having to place her somewhere, and I'm just wondering, is there a pleasant way for me to explain to her that we have to downsize everything before she goes there?
That's a really, really good question, yes. Ernie, and a difficult question. First of all, I would evaluate, and again, sort of with their physician and maybe other family members, like what stage of dementia is she in, right? So there's a wide range we're talking here. So if she's sort of at the early stages, I think our advice would be to make sure that there are some things that she really identifies with that she keeps. There may be some pictures, there may be a few other things which she can really identify with that connects her to your family. The further she gets along in the dementia, those things won't mean much to her. And what will mean a lot more to her is your presence, your being there. So I'm not sure that there's a really simple solution to this one. And it really depends on what stage of dementia she's in. Just sorry to hear that.
Yeah, this is such a difficult thing because of the emotions. And one thing I would add too is when talking to her, focus on what she's gaining rather than what she's losing by moving. And so as you're talking to her, just find something that's positive about the move. And maybe she's going to be closer to the grandkids, and then she can spend more time with the grandkids and talk about how fun that's going to be for her. And I think that's just going to be really important as you move forward. And then when it comes to the decluttering itself, I think pick the least emotional room and start there with the decluttering. That's another great tip when it comes to if you've got someone who's downsizing and maybe is not totally bought into the idea. Start with that guest For me, I would tell you it'd be the guest room closet. I don't care about that at all. I'm more than happy to declutter that in the downstairs bathroom, you know. And so, but this is a tough one, and you know, I do wish Ernie the best, and it's a difficult conversation.
We can tell you love your mama. You're a good son, Ernie. Thank you for calling us tonight. Our next call is from Tennessee, where Kathy joins us, and Kathy is a winner tonight. Go right ahead, Kathy.
Thank you. Yes, I have a specific question about bedding, sheets, and pillowcases. How many do we need to keep?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a whole closet full, but it seems like I only use a couple of pairs of, you know, each time I change the bedding.
Okay.
Good question.
That is
That's
a great question. I personally have 2 sets. When I pull one off my bed to wash, I put my new fresh one on. So I only have 2. Now, some people like a little bit 3 and 4. I always say I think that's plenty, just if you have a favorite. Some people in the winter have flannel sheets. So you might have different styles that you like, different times of the year. And I do love the trick where you fold it up and place that set of sheets in a pillowcase. And they stay really nice together, but I would say not to go over 4. 3 would really be ideal, and 2 would just really make it simple.
That trick about the pillowcases, you blew my mind right now.
Yeah, that is
That's
a
an
good one.
awesome trick. Yes.
I love that. And I will ask you, I mean, a lot of times this is far too much for one person to take on alone.
Yes.
How do you recruit help? How do you get people excited to help you declutter?
Yes, I always say grab a grandkid, grab a neighbor that you get along and that you trust, bring somebody in. It's so much fun together. And other people give a different perspective, similar as, you know, I do as well. And I was thinking the other day, my grandmother, we had to downsize her home. And, you know, she had dementia. I wanted to add this really quick. And we were able to tell her, she was at the beginning stages, but I would tell her, I have all your crystal and I love it and I will use it at Christmas time. And I do. And you know what? She was just at peace knowing that we had it and all of our family came together. So grab somebody. It's fun. Turn on some music. Grab you a Starbucks, have a good time. There is a way to do it, and a lot of times it helps having somebody else with you.
I love that. And Ernie, that one was for you as well, sir. 877-283-7570. We might still have time to get your call in, so please try us. I will bring up this psychological component because I think a lot of people out there in rural America can relate. If you grew up, you didn't have a lot of money. You hold on to things.
Yes.
How do you get to people, how do you get through to people who did grow up poor, and now that they do have a little something, they want to hold on to it?
Okay, that one is a tough one as well. So how I help people with that most of the time is I just find a really good home. It might be in the basement, it might be in the attic for certain things that they're struggling with. But kind of get it out of sight, out of mind. Let them live with that, you know, for a bit. And then just every time you go in the attic or that garage and you see it, you know, you might at some point want to sell it or get rid of it. If not, just put it in a space that's not in your way every day and just hang on to it for now.
Excellent. Okay, we are getting to the end of our program. I want to make sure we give everybody an opportunity to share their final thoughts. But before we get there, thank you so much for making this such an exciting show tonight. We had so many calls, wonderful calls come through. You make this show work, rural America. So thank you for keeping those calls coming in. What are your final thoughts for us tonight?
The final thoughts is start with one space and stay in there until you can complete it. If it takes you a few days, a few hours, just continue to work on that one space. I highly recommend the bedroom because, again, it's a place for us to rest and get ready for just our day. And I would just say start with your bedroom, small, and also make progress piles. So if it's all your socks, all your cords, all your mail, that's progress because you've at least separated it and sorted it, and then take one pile at a time.
And then you had a great tip for a handyman. Say you have a handyman who lives down the street. You don't necessarily have a lot of funding for that handyman.
Yes.
What do you recommend?
Well, I have a handyman, and I swap out organization with him. So he is a busy a busy hubby and with kids, and he's great, and he feels he needs organization in his house, so we flip it and we swap. Grab a neighbor, call somebody that you know and trust. Maybe cut their grass for them if they can't do that. Help them do a little paint or a little touch here. But you can find somebody. It's fun to find somebody to swap with. Saves you money and you have a good time.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, only a few moments left, gentlemen. What are your final thoughts for us tonight, Brad?
Yeah, my final thought is AARP has tremendous resources when it comes to downsizing and decluttering. And so we have those resources up right now on aarp.org/AARP Live. So go to that website, you'll find plenty of resources. The other thing I would add is for people that are looking to stay in the home, say you've decluttered, but you do want to stay in your home, especially as you age, sometimes you need to retrofit that home. So for example, you need to put carpet on the stairs, you need to change the door handles to levers to make them open easier. We have a home fit guide at AARP that will provide all this information. And again, that's going to be on aarp.org/AARP Live. So if you want to stay in your home, we've got the materials. If you want to declutter it, we've got the materials.
Greg.
I would just remember the positive health benefits that we talked about earlier in the show. And sort of take the long view here, as everyone's been saying, pick a closet, pick the downstairs bathroom, pick the bedroom, small chunks so as you move through. But remember that at the end of all of this process, you're going to find yourself feeling a lot better and feeling a lot lighter and feeling a lot more engaged and a lot more in control. So it's not just simply about getting it done. Remember that there's some significant health benefits. We talked about those things that are really not good for you. Yeah. Stress, anxiety, those sorts of things are terrible for your health. And if you can do stuff to alleviate them, that's really good for your personal well-being.
Absolutely. But if you are someone who likes to hold on to certain things, certain items, don't necessarily have to get rid of everything if you're absolutely unsure. And I think that's my big takeaway from tonight. What was your big takeaway from tonight?
That pillowcase idea. I'm still thinking about that. You put all your sheets. So if you're just tuning in, put all your sheets that are together into the pillowcase that matches those sheets.
Those pink sheets,
that.
or those white sheets, put the set together. It's perfect.
And Greg Marshallton, what was your big takeaway?
I like the cheap spice rack where you can just get some basic stuff, just hang it up on the wall, buy one of those $4 or $5 and organize that stuff.
Well, you know what? This was such an exciting show. Thank you so much for spending some time with us, the Clutter Queen.
I love it. Thank you for having me.
You've certainly earned that title tonight. That about does it for us tonight. I want to make sure that you join us next month, June 15th. Not only are you going to have another opportunity to win one of those hard-sided coolers, we're also going to be talking about Social Security. And boy, everybody's got some questions about Social Security. An expert's going to join us right here in the studio to take your calls. I want to thank everybody for joining us and give you this website one more time, aarp.org/AARP Live. We look forward to seeing you the next third Thursday of the month. Thanks for joining us tonight.